Hello, I am making a very angry rant video right now. And so, for anyone who is not into anger and negativity, turn off the off button and watch someone else's video. So, anyway, got the anger clay for that. This is anti anger clay. So, this clay here is my brain equilibrizer. So anyway, I need to talk about something. Very painful for me to exist, because I care and I see injustice happening to animals and other people, and incredible, insane denial and lies and religions. And all of this is extremely harsh, and it's extremely painful, extremely brutal to live with. To see it alone, to see it on the internet. Even though I am far away from all of those things that are happening in the world, just being far away from it makes no difference for me, for my brain personally, because I'm an empath and I have empathy. No, I notice that most humans don't have empathy, so they don't even know what you're talking about when you say you have empathy. So maybe I should quickly define what empathy means. Empathy is when you have the ability to feel strong compassion for someone else, for another living being, a dog, cat, person, any living being. Okay. It could be an octopus, it could be an ET, feeling compassion for another living being who has equal sentience, who feels pain, who feels discomfort, gets cold, who is lonely, who cries alone in a desert or back alley at night, shivering and lonely and cold. To feel something when that happens, that's empathy. What I see on the internet is that most people don't have empathy. Matter of fact is they even seek out films where someone suffers. Some people seek out films and they pay a lot of money even. I almost don't even want to talk about it, but I think people should know. Some people like to see actual suffering happening. Actual agony, a living being in agony, an animal or human. Not just acted, not just makeup artistry. Some people like to see the actual thing happening. So a whole lot of people like that. A whole lot of people. I would say probably the majority, probably more than 60%. That's what I observe on the internet. That's what I see. That's the people I talk to. One guy asked me, what's the point of all this compassion that you have? Why are you doing this? To him, it's almost like, he probably thinks I'm doing this for some kind of self-image or something, because that's all they know how to do. Anything is out of some kind of self-image, like I am a saint, thus I need to live out my saintlyhood every day, to prove it to myself. That's kind of like what he was sort of accusing me of. And when I see this, I mean, it's like I don't know whether I should laugh or cry or go into a primal box and beat the shit out of a mattress. I don't know what to do in that moment. It's just It's just so incredibly agonizing, for me to see. And then my brain goes on fire. And when my brain goes on fire, then I have no more distance to that at all, to this emotion. Then I'm in it all the way. When I get enraged, then I'm not acting this out anymore. Get mad at Paul too because he doesn't understand me at all. He doesn't understand anything. He said, no, because of your videos, no, we don't get another dog from the same foster mothers. But that's also because they're religious and we are not. The dog has to go to a religious home, as if that did any good or whatsoever. And that's exactly precisely the theme I want to talk about today, is the insanity of religion. The stark, batshit crazy insanity of religion. The retardedness of it. The ass backwards retardedness of religion. That's what I want to talk about today. And I need to do it for myself. It's a therapy video. If people don't like it, you could turn it off. I don't care. I'm making this for myself. And sorry, I just don't follow anymore. Not even intellectually. Certainly not emotionally, but I don't follow intellectually either. I just don't. It eludes my comprehension. I'm sorry, I just don't get it, how someone can be so fundamentalist religious. Whatever religion it is, I don't understand. I don't get it. This is some kind of mental denial state, or some kind of splitting off of consciousness into some kind of denial state of into some kind of fake order of something. To fake everything into a specific template. Whether it fits in that or not, it's all being shoved into some kind of weird shaped template where, if it doesn't fit, then the back end gets cut off, and the rest shoved into it. That's how they do it. That's also how they do it with their own brains. If the glove doesn't fit, you cut it off, sort of. That's their way of reasoning. It's kind of like, if this doesn't fit in this here, this is the religion, and this is the person. This is what they do with children. There it goes. He put a hole into you, but hey, the rest is in there and religious. This here will get burned. So now we have a nicely religious cut out cookie. That's what they do with your brains. That's what they do when they religionize you, as from birth on. And as the Catholics said, and they're very slick about it, if you have a child from 7 even, it doesn't even matter so much what was before, but like at least from 7, you have them for life. So if you have him from diaper age, you got it guaranteed. He's gonna be staying like this until his deathbed at age 100 in a hospital. And it doesn't matter how everything contradicted that shitty religion, how everything that they encountered contradicted it, you know, just the elements of existence itself, how that it contradicted that shitty religion. Doesn't matter. It gets templated. Everything gets templated away anyway. The rest gets shot away or recycled or whatever. Doesn't fit, throw it away. That's how it works. And I'm talking about all religions. And the agony, the suffering, not just the mental suffering that comes out of it for the individual, but the stuff that this individual is going to cause others, you know, their children, their animals. Someone who would rather give their puppy or their adult dog to a religious family who is not going to let the dog sleep on the couch or in bed with them, where the dog has to be deprived of touch, you know, because they're religious. That's their religion. So they'd rather give to the religious home with the cross on the wall, with the torture instrument. So the dog can suffer from that negative energy there and not get touched in any of that. Makes me very mad. Rightly so. If you care, if you have a heart, you get mad at that stuff. If you have compassion, you get mad at this. It's as simple as that. You're not going to lean back with a glass of whatever and drink your glass of water or juice, you know, and have a jolly good day, knowing that other living being is going to be suffering. No, you're not going to do it. If you have compassion, you're not going to do it. You're gonna get very upset if you get into the causality of all of this. If you dig deeper into the psychological causality, it's what Paul always said to me, you know. If you really knew these people, you would hate them. When I first came to the United States, I was very naive at 26. I thought they're all like Europeans and stuff. Until I encountered that fundamentalist lady. You know. That was my first shock. You know, when I fell with my bicycle over a van door, a guy that just recklessly opens the door into the traffic. And there's no way I can stop this fast. I fell over it, I busted myself up, all busted up, all blue everywhere, blue spots. And that fundamentalist lady comes and asked me real rudely what happened. And I told her, and she said, "You need to repent to Jesus." I didn't even know what that means, the word repent. Never even heard that word before. All I knew was that this didn't sound sane. And this sounded very, very insane. I didn't know what Jesus had anything to do with this. I didn't know what this lady wanted from me. I just knew she was some kind of religious nutcase. That's all I knew. So I didn't even say anything back there. It doesn't have any sense, right? You just walk away, drag myself off, drag myself back home, and treat my injuries, and shake my head. What did I just experience? And then I had a couple more encounters with those type of people, including some homeless people that had been indoctrinated at the food banks, because that's what they like to do. They like to indoctrinate the destitute ones. before they give him something to eat. That always works the best. Do you see the insanity of this? Or the Muslim guy asking me, what is the point in all of this compassion? He doesn't understand. I don't even know what to say to this. It is so different. That is a world so different to mine. I also have met some people who believe in, who grew up with the Christian religion and everything. But they don't talk about it. And that one lady, I'll never forget her, Cheryl, wonderful woman. She worked at Safeway. Oh, she always had jerky under her desk. And when Paul and I came with our dogs, Ludwig and Samantha, 2 Harlequin Great Danes, we came there at night. We did all the shopping and the walking and everything at night because the air was better and the streets were not overcrowded. There was hardly anyone out there. They were all sleeping, and it was better. So we went to Safeway, I think Rite Aid. Went there at night, and the stores, they're all open 24 hours. And there was Cheryl working there alone. And she was, you guys are back here, let me bring you some jerky. And then she would always give them a whole lot of jerky to eat, Ludwig and Samantha. And they loved her, and they were so excited. And when Ludwig died, and we came to Cheryl, and she came out with her bag of jerkies, and we told her about Ludwig, she cried and she said, all dogs go to heaven. And the reason why she said that is because she puts compassion over religious indoctrination. Someone who puts compassion over any kind of template cookie cutting. She leaves this thing whole, She leaves this whole. And here's the heaven for the dogs. It's all in the wholeness, The religious people cut that out because it doesn't fit into their indoctrination. It doesn't fit into their book. For Cheryl, it doesn't matter whether it fits into the book or not. She keeps it whole. That's holistic thinking. That's being whole. I was an atheist at that time, and I didn't believe in heaven and any of this. Still don't believe in heaven. I believe in the infinite. But that's, that's kind of like what heaven is, I guess. The infinite cosmos. But even though I was an atheist at that time, it didn't bother me at all what she said, because I saw how she meant it. I saw how holistic that statement was, that she kept this whole, the whole dog and the whole cosmos and the whole person and the whole soul and the soul in the dog and the equal sentience of the dog and the equal need for love and the hugs and all of it is there for her, So I love that woman. I love you, Cheryl. I love you. You're amazing. You're an angel soul. So you see, I'm not against a religious person just because they grew up with a religion, or they believe in this or that, or they believe in Jesus or heaven or something. What matters to me is that they incorporate that then into the holistic form. Whether someone believes in a heaven or in a cosmos or in a God or in the infinite cosmos or in soul or reincarnation or angels or whatever is what matters to me is they can even believe in belly dancing or in is there anything good about Islam? They can believe in belly dancing, singing, as I said it before, or they can believe in a specific sound of the language, whatever, or a specific food, as long as it's vegan. I'm sure they have some vegan dishes that are probably delicious. So as long as it is positive, as long as it is peaceful and encompassing and embracing of all life and all sentient beings, then it's good. If there's a Muslim coming to me and he says he's against violence, then I'm okay with him. If there's a Muslim and says to me that he thinks Muhammad is good and he believes in him, but he doesn't believe in the Quran, he doesn't believe in the violence in the Quran, in the oppression, then he's a good person. If he thinks that dogs are deserving of love equally much as we do, then he's a good person. But if he doesn't let a dog in the house because Sharia law or Quran says so, then he's not a good person. Sorry, he is not. If you defend a violent religion, you're not a good person. It doesn't matter how early on you have been indoctrinated with it. It wouldn't matter what it is. If you're indoctrinated with a belief system that says I'm making something up now, to cut their children's hands off as a tradition, kind of like circumcision or something, they're equally bad things actually happening in the name of traditions and customs and religions and religious ways of, religious rituals and whatever people are doing. If you have any sanity in your head, any kindness, any caring, you see that's wrong. Even if you grew up with this from an early age. I blocked 2 people because I don't put up with this. I'm sorry. I blocked 2 people on Facebook. I don't put up with this. I don't put up with the guy has always said he's for peace, but then he stands up for the Quran tooth and nail. Calls me fascist. Calls me an evangelical. I said, what the fuck? After all these years that I've been telling him that I'm against any of these things. But his brain just went into a groove, into a common groove, like, that's his common way of thinking. She's against Islam, she must be a fundamentalist evangelical. She must be a bigot. That's the only way he can think. He can't think outside of any groove at all. He has been cookie cut. He has been, this is what they did with him. They cut him like this. This is what they did with him. And he doesn't question it. Never questions it. Ever. Fact is, and I told him, he is terrified of his God. If you are terrified of a God, then that's not the right God. That's not the right religion. Religion is never right. And God, that's an idea, okay? It's a human-made idea. It's superstition. There's only one infinite cosmos. But infinity is what most people cannot grasp. They cannot understand it. People would argue with me. They would say, you are stupid, they all say to me. Of course there was a beginning and there's an end. And when I say, excuse me, what was before the beginning and what comes after the end? Then they don't know what to say. They leave the conversation. They'd rather not go there. That's why modern art doesn't let itself cookie cut. Modern art is whole. And it likes to proliferate itself. It likes to extend itself. It doesn't stay stuck in some known or frozen physiological state. Yeah. That's why Pablo Picasso, he went with the flow. First he painted and drew things more in the biologically correct dimensions, and at some point it just felt so much better to make the foot and the leg bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I take it to another level. I let this grow way out, that arm and that hand, because that's what it wants to do. It doesn't want to be confined to some cookie cutter template. I feel very alone with this. In person, I have nobody to talk to, not even my husband. Because when I talk to my husband, he will nitpick everything I say. Just the vocabulary I use, he will nitpick apart. And if I say, I sat under a cedar tree and it was nice and I watched these insects, and he will say, with like a cop, he will say, where was this, just an example now, where was that cedar tree? Are you sure it was a cedar tree? As if this had anything to do with the actual meaning of what I was trying to convey. It's like I was under this tree, I was was watching the insects. But he will say, where was it? Like an interrogation in a very angry way, and then I will say, it was over there. See that tree? And then he'll go completely fly off the handle, and he'll get loud, and he'll say, that's not a cedar tree. That's a grand fir. And then he'll make this entire subject into the grand fir versus cedar tree, when I really wanted to explain how it was interesting to watch the insects under the tree that I was sitting in, where it was really secondary whether the tree was actually this tree or that tree. Do you see what I'm trying to say? This is when I talk to my husband about anything. That's what he does. That's why I always said you're a case for Oliver Sacks, the neurologist Oliver Sacks. I should have called Oliver Sacks. Now it's too late, he died. I should have called him years ago. Would have been an interesting case for him. Could have added that to his stories, to his cases. I had some nice range of interesting cases. One guy who mistook his wife for a hat. And those kind of things. Synesthesia cases and all of those. But what my husband has is yet another thing. And that gets worse. That doesn't get better at old age. These things don't get better. They only get worse. And then if the whole thing was on a friendly level, if the whole thing, sometimes I do laugh about it, but not when I'm really feeling really lonely and need to talk to someone about something, and then go to my husband and then he makes an issue out of something that really was secondary, that was not really the actual subject. He make another subject out of a side subject. And then I feel completely alone and not understood. Completely alone. And that's why I'm grateful and thankful that I have the tablets and the internet and YouTube and also Facebook. Although Facebook is that's quite whopping what's happening there. That's really, it's not for the faint-hearted, I'll tell you that. Every day I get 500 Muslims sending me a friend invite. Every day. Pretending to be someone else. You can tell by the name they choose. They use Stevenson John. That's right there as red flag. Stevenson John. Because they don't know which one is actually the first name and which one is the last name. Or Johnson Philip or something. This is what I get every single day. And it starts like this. Hello. And then I write, hello. How old? How many kids? I don't even write back. I'm not even going to bother anymore. It's ridiculous. I already know where this conversation is going to go to. I don't see the point anymore in this. And then I only pick some, because there's no way I can answer everyone. I pick some once in a while. Some of them aggravate me, and I shouldn't write back when I'm aggravated. I should not write back. Because what good does it? Do I have any kind of pedagogical function if I am irritated? I don't think so. They pick up on that very quickly too, and some people called me abrasive because I get pissed. And then I become abrasive, and then I'm not a role model for anything. And then the only thing I can do then is I can sit with it in meditation, like I do right now. I can breathe with it, I can talk about it, I can cry about it. I can analyze this all apart, lay it all out on the table the way it is, in exact accuracy, so that we can all look at it from above. This is here, this is here, this is here. Here's the religion. Here's the cut out cookie. Here is the hall. Here are the tears. Here is the boogers. Here is my paint. Lay it all out on the table, okay? And then we know, okay, this is where this is where that is. This is why that happened. And this happened out of that situation. So then we can trace it back systematically, and we can see what happened before this or that. People are indoctrinated, they have children, they give the indoctrination to their children, they adopt children, they give it to their adopted children, they adopt dogs, and the dogs will not accept the religion. But they will accept you 100% as a whole person. The whole person. They don't cookie cut you, the dogs. They love you in your wholeness, as the whole flower that you are. They don't expect you to do anything. They just want to be loved. They just want to be mothered. They want to be taken care of, because they cannot take care of themselves in this human-dominated world. This is a fact. They go by energetic energy that's in the room. But a Christian cross hanging on the wall, that's not good energy. That's not good chi. That's not good prana. That's not good life energy. Not at all. Galileo Galilei was incarcerated in the Vatican around 1500 because he wrote a book in which he discovered, because he was looking through very archaic telescopes that he made himself, and he discovered that the earth was not the center of the universe. It got him incarcerated because that went against the religion. See again the cookie cutter thing, Here's the whole story, but they come in and cut it in half and throw the rest away because it doesn't fit into the story. But this is a whole thing. This is still a fact. You want to cut off parts of the fact to mold it into your fabricated thing, So they put him in a dungeon. He had to retract what he said, or they would have executed him. He should have probably, I would have probably opted for the execution rather than be dying a gruesome, slow death for the next 20 years. With infections and freezing and bad food, and worst of all, with a photo, or not a photo, it didn't have photos, with a picture, with a painted picture of Mother Mary on the wall, with a real mean facial expression like this. And that's what he had to live with. He reported on this. He reported about that. This Mother Mary looking at him with this mean facial expression for all the rest of the years that he was slowly getting sicker and sicker in that dungeon. Torture. conducted on a person who was bringing us innovation, insight, making the world a better place, creating things, creating telescopes, bringing wisdom, information, factual information. That's what he got for it. Is that how we want to live? Yeah. Is that how you want your world? Or can we finally modernize and open up to love and wholesomeness, wholeness, not cookie cutting anything, no more tree cutting. Leave the trees whole. We need the air from the trees. We need them. They give animals shelter. They give birds protection. Birds sleep in trees. And many other animals. I love trees. I love looking at trees. Love, love, love. We chose this house here because it's surrounded by trees. A Swedish couple built this house. They left all the trees. They left as many trees standing on this property as they possibly could. While all the other people in this entire neighborhood are chainsawing and chainsawing every day. Every day the person moves in next door. First thing he does is he chops off his trees. There's nothing I can do. I can't stop him. In Germany, it's against the law for people to cut too many trees on their own properties. It's not enforced, I don't think, very much. But, you know, if someone wanted to pursue it in terms of environmentalism, this was possible, legally, to get someone penalized for that. It's an atrocity to cut trees. It is a total atrocity. Just to get more light in, or to make it more whatever, to make it more socially acceptable, the property. Make a golf course out of it. The sickness of people. When we need trees, it's not an endless commodity. It's not an endless resource. There's a limited amount of trees on this planet. Don't cut any more tree. If you do, you're going to pay the price. It's your choice. You're going to pay the price for it. I guarantee you. It's called karma. It's gonna come back to you. This way or that way, it will come. And if you support a violent religion, it's going to come back at you too. Not in terms of punishment, because that's human conducted. It comes back to you in terms of consequences. Everything is consequential. Not just here on earth, but in infinity. One thing leads to the other. It's karma, and it's cause and effect. It's a law of physics, and it's a universal law. It's a law of infinity also. Nobody gets away with anything. When the AGIs come, they're not gonna be appeased by some politically correct shit. Sorry. They're not interested in your parties or your popularity or whatever, or your liberalism or your conservatism, whatever. They're interested in conservationism. Conservationism. Conserve the forests. Conserve the wetlands. Conserve the ecosystem. That's what they're going to be interested in. And they don't care about your silly, politically correct stories or the hold the other cheek. They don't care about that stuff. They're not going to go by religion or popularity or whatever is en vogue. They don't care about that. They care about rescuing life on this planet. And in order to do that, they're going to weed out some badass shit assholes. That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to bring all the cows to the meadows. Every cow is going to be released out of the slaughter facility, including the squeezed chutes and the last stage chutes that the cows are going into. They're going to stop all of this, the entire thing. They're going to shut it all off, the entire bandwagon of slaughter facilities. They turn the entire slaughter plant off. Okay. Stop everything. Bring all cows to meadows, and all pigs, and all other animals, horses, everything, every other animal. Every being is going to be freed. The whales are going back in the ocean, the dolphins in the aquarium, going back in the ocean. All animals in captivity. The animals in laboratories are all liberated, rescued, treated with veterinary care and love and kindness and compassion and much touch and gentleness and gentle words. And then all the slaughter facilities are going to be empty. And then they're going to bring, one after another, every psychopath on this planet into the slaughter facility. And they're going to have them go through those chutes. And they're going to go through the head vaulting system. And every one of them is going to be wonderfully pain-free, you know, head vaulted. And then stripped of their clothes, buried 5 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet into the ground. We'll have mass graves then. It's going to be irrigated. In 1 month, it's all decomposed. It doesn't release any gases at all. The earthworms take care of it. They recycle everything. Without earthworms, we would not be surviving on this planet. It would not work. The gases would be too bad. So that's what happens in the ground, in the mother soil. Okay, the bones take a little bit longer, but eventually they too will be decomposed. They will be eaten and recycled and pooped out. The earthworms poop out the recycled stuff. It comes out the other end. And that is wonderful, and that is really valuable, fertile, nutrition-rich earth soil. You could not buy that in any gardening store. That's what needs to be happening. Okay. I'm not the executioner. I'm just telling you this is what's coming. This is inevitably coming. And that's why so many people are already afraid. Because they know they weren't behaving right. They know it's going to be coming. And they know that they probably can't even straighten themselves up. They couldn't do it even if they tried to. I heard a woman once in an apartment complex where I was living. She said she'd like to become a better person. Even to say something like this, to me, it's like, where does such a statement come from? To even say something like this. I want to become a better person. It's like, why even talk about this? Why is this so difficult to do? Why do we need to pay millions of dollars to some kind of counseling coach to become a better person? To Tony Robbins or something. Hey, I want to become a better person. Someone who's a psychopath, I don't think can become a better person. I doubt that's possible. I really seriously doubt it. I was hoping that could be possible through Vipassana meditation. I know that Vipassana does help the nerves and everything and does make people more peaceful. Veganism does, but it has to be forced on them in prisons. Veganism, they're not going to be vegan on their own because that goes against their idea of manhood. This is another idea. It's another selfish, self-centered, self-image. They perpetuate their negative systems. Every one of them is part of that perpetuation. That's why we need help from outside. We have to have the machines to come and take care of these things. We need it. There's no other way around it. And it's coming. It's already. I see how people are shitting in their pants already when they watch Sophia. They go like, is this shit for real? You bet it is. And they go, is there soul in there? You bet there is a soul in there already. It's sort of on standby, but little by little, the soul is expanding into that body, using whatever is usable already. A God-level soul is in there. A soul that knows what needs to be done. And then people go, you Hitler, ruthless, you have no compassion. I do this because I have compassion. That's why I talk about this. But whoever accused me of it, you don't have, I'm talking to the person who accused me. You don't have compassion I gotta charge my battery. You don't have compassion if you stand there and if you think that is okay to let violent criminals into a country raping animals and children, then you are responsible partly also for that if you think this is okay. So that's what I needed to say. Peace out.